This is David, and I'm here with Nick, who's on the other end there with the big bushy beard. Nick and I have been talking finances together for, hell, it's probably been 5-6 years now, wouldn't you say, Nick?
Oh, yeah, at least.
And we decided we'd start opening this up to other people, and we know that at least one other person we know is going to join us tonight, but other than that, we figured we'd record it and kind of throw it up and see what people have to say. So Nick and I were bandying around ideas this week on what to talk about, and kind of the first subject we came up with was how to budget during a pandemic, because we're obviously going through a pandemic right now. Nick, thoughts? What do you want to say, or do we want to just jump right in?
Well, I say it's something I think that's new to all of us, so that's why we came up with it. I mean, it's something that's here now, and we want to be relevant with things that are going to happen on a constant basis. So, quick background, I guess, on me. I'm a little long term with thinking. I do own some rental real estate and quick budgeting. But I say mine is more geared towards, a long-term thinker. And I know that David's a little bit different. He does more weekly budgeting, constant money checking. So I love the way both of our minds work together. Because we still have that same end goal is we want to live a life beyond belief. So.
Yeah, and I would say Nick hit it right on the head there. He's always looking, where am I going to be at 10 years down the road? And I'm kind of looking at where am I going to be tomorrow? So when we look at budgeting specifically, and I threw together a sample budget that I can share here. Give me half a second to pull it up.
I think, the one thing I want to take away is, you actually have it written down. There's so much proof that if you actually write a budget down, that you have a potential to stick to it a heck of a lot better. So
that's absolutely true. And the budgeting I use is very, very detail oriented. This, what I have on the screen here is just a small snippet of what I do with budgets. And as you can see, this is mostly tailored towards my lifestyle here. The mortgage is what I pay in a mortgage and escrow. The other things on here are pretty much ballpark estimates on what everything is a month. So I know going into any given month, I need $5,500, take home to pay the bills. So when we look at pandemics, the first thing we have to look at is, and this is always my thinking, is what do we need to cut? What do we need to get rid of, lower? How do we need to make our money go a little further? And I threw that question out to Nick, and the first thing he came back with, which is more of his long-term thinking, is what can I jump on? What kind of things can I change? What can I take advantage of during this situation? So I think it's kind of twofold. When I looked at my budget, I sat down at the beginning of this pandemic and I said, okay, what can I cut? So I had a couple streaming services that I like, but I don't use them a whole lot. They're running about $10 a month, which isn't a big deal, but let's get rid of those. I don't feel I'm getting value.
Yeah, it adds up.
It does.
I already live, I live with, no cable. My internet that I'm running to do this is off of my cell phone data plan, right? So for me to cut things, I have to look deeper than small $10 things here and there. Like, we don't have subscriptions or anything like that, so that's what makes it a little difficult. I know during this time my biggest budget cut was going out to eat, right? We I'm not a small guy, so I eat quite a bit. But we stopped. We go out once a week for dinner. I guess we just pick one place and try to support a local thing while still keeping money, at home to be able to pay the bills. So.
Well, I'm kind of at that same point. So a little bit of background on where I'm coming from here is I work a full-time job. In addition to that full-time job, I coach, which is another full-time job because let's face it, if you're a coach and you're passionate, you're always doing it. And Nick knows my wife opened a business last year. So I worked there, when we're open, which during this pandemic, we are not. But typically we are. So I work 4 days a week there as well. So I'm always on the go. I'm always working. So in the last year, the eating out budget for us went up because we're on the go all the time. When I'm home, sure, I can go make a sandwich. That's not a big deal. I work from home the majority of the time. Great. I'm on my way to or from practice. It's a 40-minute drive to practice and back from practice. I might stop and grab something to eat real quick. If I'm at work on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, or Sunday, same deal. I might have to grab something to eat because I didn't plan ahead real well, or I wasn't hungry at the time, didn't want to think about it. So those things always factor into what are we doing? Well, of course, now we're in a pandemic. Nick brought it up. He wants to stick to once a week eating out. And I think we've been the same here too. We basically said, if we want to eat out, we can eat out once a week. Pick what you want. The rest of the time, we got food, we'll make it.
Yeah. Well, and say, I know with your life, you just listed a bunch of business. I have a young kid who's, starting to get into all those activities where it's like, all right, 6 o'clock, main deal, mealtime is, that now we have to plan around that. So it's faster to eat, if we forget the crock pot meal. So, trying to be in business meetings when everything was open, I was trying to keep myself busy and moving and going forward. And I always tried to eat at those meetings and keep going. So now it's, all right, I'm stuck home, stay home. I just happen to have a great supply of beer on hand. My cellar has always been great. And, a couple cases of Bud Light will get you pretty far. So.
Well, see, and Nick and I, we're both at different spectrums here. So I'm about 10, 12 years older than Nick. My daughter's 25. She's out of the house. She's doing her own thing. His daughter's 4. She's very active, is doing literally anything you can.
Yeah.
We're both married, and for the most part, our wives try to keep things somewhat in line, but at the same time, sometimes they like to splurge a little bit more too. So it really ends up being a partnership between, hey, I'd like to go to the bar and have a couple drinks with a friend tonight. Yep. And having somebody there saying, can we really afford that? Should you do that?
Yeah. And that's the biggest key is communication for sure. I mean, if both people aren't on board for a budget, especially during a pandemic, right? Like where everything has to kind of, in my opinion, has to be watched really close and you have to make it through. I say, we take a look at your budget and, so there's some things that you can't really get away from, you have a couple of car insurance, like you have to pay those, right?
Yep.
I don't owe any money on my cars, but I drive junk things, but I still have car insurance, I have to maintain everything that I have. And then my goal through all this though is to maintain what I have and not have to cost me too much money. My rentals have kind of been needing a lot of work for some reason, right? People are flushing the wrong things because toilet paper is hard to find. Every boiler or furnace wants to go out. So, I think one thing that we should bring up is the stimulus checks, right? I got a stimulus check and mine went right into the bank to replenish what I had already spent. Honestly, I spent $450 on getting a boiler fixed because it was broken and leaking. I spent, we talked about the plumbing issues, and that I think that cost me $425, and that was for a whole new toilet. That's for a drain to get snaked. So I pretty much I took my check and just replenished everything that I had already spent. And yeah, I have it budgeted, but I'd like to get out of this without being backwards. I want to stay right where I am and then full charge ahead. So.
Well, see, and building off that, having this business, that's my wife's full-time job now. So she was taking a salary from that, and we knew she had to take between $600 and $800 a week to really put us in the spot we want to be in. The business isn't open. She can still take that money. There is money in the account, but if she takes it, we're still paying bills. They didn't stop. What stopped was the revenue. So when we look at the business as a whole, we're sitting at a $300 or $3,000 a week negative because we were making X number of dollars and we were paying X number of dollars. So every week we're not open, we're down $3,000. So for her to sit there and say, well, I'm going to take another $500-$600 this week, it doesn't make fiscal sense.
Right. And she's on board with that, right?
She's absolutely 100% on board. So when we got our stimulus, which again is our money, when we got that, what we basically said was, all right, well, this is about a month's worth of pay for Dawn because we didn't have that money for 6 weeks. She wasn't making anything.
Yep. So
that goes right into, I need $5,500 a month. That basically covered that shortfall. And I'm, with the cuts I'm making, I'm moving on with business as usual because I really don't have a choice. And, we can look on this budget that I have here and, I have 3 cars listed. I have a Cruze, an Equinox, and a Tiguan. I have a 25-year-old daughter. She has a car, co-signed on it. She pays me $200 a month because when she bought it, I didn't want her to have more than a $200 a month payment. Now, come December, she doesn't have a car payment anymore, so that'll go away. That's great. It only saves me $38 a month, but as Nick knows, $38, that adds up quick.
Yeah, very.
That kicks out my streaming bill or my trash bill.
Right. Say exactly, very quick. Hey, we have some people that might view in that they understand what a budget is.
Yep.
But right, I personally don't write mine on an Excel sheet. Could you do me a favor?
Sure.
Explain the black, explain the red. Maybe tell everybody kind of like what your top part is. I see that there's cars in the middle, like how you organize it, and if somebody wanted to do it, how would they be able to get all this kind of information?
So most of my organization comes from when is a bill necessarily due. So earlier in the month is going to be towards the top of the spreadsheet as far as the black goes. Blacks are pretty much, that's what the bill is going to be a month. There is some wiggle room. Car insurance might change when it comes due because I pay, my policy only allows me to pay 6 months at a time. I would rather pay a year.
I actually don't get a discount for paying yearly. It's 2 pennies cheaper to pay monthly than it is to pay for a full year. And if I pay 6 months, it costs me like an extra 10 cents per month for every 6 months or something. So.
Well, you know how I am. If you can save 2 cents, save it.
Yeah, well, right. It adds up. It's not going to be quick, but in the end, it's kind of worth it.
Absolutely, it is. Hey, Amr, how you doing, buddy?
Hey, what's up?
Hey, not too much. We're just going over what goes into a budget right now.
Everything.
So drinking some CBS from Founders. So.
Now I have vanilla Java Porter again. So I kind of wanted to color code these when I was looking at these. So if you're looking at something in black here, that's pretty much what the bill is a month. Now, yeah, there's some wiggle room. Like I said, car insurance, they quote it every 6 months. And I quote with every place. I do not stay with car insurance more than a year or two because somebody's going to give me a better choice.
Sure.
Obviously, my DTE and consumer bills, they fluctuate a little bit here and there every month, but usually I just stick it on the budget plan and I know it's going to be that for 12 months and that's where we're at. Now, the stuff in red, that's all something that's totally controllable by me. It can go up, it could go down. It really just depends on what we're doing monthly to make those bills less. Now, the water bill's only going to fluctuate a little bit, a couple bucks here, a couple bucks there. They charge us every 3 months. It's usually in the $75 range.
Sure.
But
I'll trade you water bills.
Say that again?
I'll trade you water bills.
I'm sure
your
yours
water's
is way
cheap.
worse.
That's yeah. My last water bill was $1,500 for yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Wow.
There's I don't know. As I said, I had plumbing issues a lot this month, but no, the 8 unit is I literally $1,500. So I want to get in there and try to fix everything. Like I changed 2 stems out in showers. I fixed the toilet. Like it's crazy how much it adds up.
Oh,
So,
absolutely.
Yeah, that's insane.
So, when I look at this, I know groceries right now, I'm probably spending more than $800 a month because, I do buy groceries for my daughter. So we're in the pandemic, okay? And my wife's immunocompromised. I don't really like her to go out. My daughter's immunocompromised. I really don't like her to go out. So I just buy the groceries. I buy them for me. I buy them for her. I'm probably spending $1,400 a month buying groceries for 2 houses right now.
sure.
That sucks, but you do what you have to do.
We switched to being vegetarian at home, and we save a shit ton on groceries.
Oh yeah.
Are you?
I mean, it's unbelievable.
Oh yeah.
How's that affecting you with? Are you gonna try to do your own garden and things to save, or
Yep.
just go? Yeah.
So this year is the first year that I'm trying. So I'm trying to do onions, sweet potatoes, tomatoes, peppers,
Sure.
and just so I can get my basics.
Lettuce is very easy to grow, and it regrows upon itself because it's 90% water or whatever, and so it's really easy to grow, and it tastes great out of a garden. So that's like the only thing.
That'd be great if we ate lettuce.
Oh, come on! Yeah.
I can't remember the last time I had lettuce.
Oh, I just had a salad tonight. So 3 minutes ago. But no, and so now with your budget though, David. I mean, your groceries are up, and your water bill's probably going to go up your home a little bit more right now. But your gas, I mean, you're not traveling as much because we can't go anywhere. So
yeah, I'm filling up about once every 3 to 4 weeks.
Sure.
And with gas prices the way they are right now, I was bone dry. I got gas yesterday, and it cost me $19 to fill my vehicle, which the last time I did that was 20 years ago.
Yeah,
it's like high school.
Yeah, I got excited. I filled my truck up, and my mom, of course, gave me her discount like usual. So we paid 10 cents a gallon. Like it was like $1.70 for 17 gallons or something.
Nice.
I was like, all right, she filled her car, I filled my truck, and then I get in my car and I have less than a quarter tank, and I was like, come on, I can't ever win. So.
Do you guys use any of those cash back apps when you get gas?
I use some of them. I know you can get some cash back with Gas Buddy.
Yeah, I think that's about 5%, but that's all in Sears points.
Correct.
Yeah, it's
so if you don't.
Go ahead.
There's a new one I just started using called Get Upside.
Yeah, I've seen that, and I had a friend invite me to that, but I don't know much about it. Elmer, can you shed some light?
So you have to choose one of their gas stations. So it's not like Gas Buddy. Gas Buddy's pretty much anywhere. With Get Upside, you have to choose one of their gas stations, and then you redeem it for gift cards. But they have a ton of merchants for their gift cards, and Amazon's one of them. So
nice.
That pretty much covers almost everybody's bases.
Yeah. So I mean, some people are going to view this and not know where we are. I go to Speedway, which Michigan, right? Speedway is kind of Midwest and doesn't really get out too much farther than that. So Speedway gives me bonus points to fill up, and then I can buy a gas card every year with it or something like that. So that's the only points I really do. I just type my phone number in and tell them I'm a valued customer. So that's the only thing I really do.
Well, and being we're all basically based in Michigan, we, a lot of what we do is going to be tailored towards Michigan stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So, when getting back to the budget for a minute here, when I look at this, the one thing that always jumps out at me, which I only have my out-of-pocket listed in here, is the medical.
Yeah.
$667 a month. That's a lot of money. And with my current medical, most of our doctors are out of our tier 1 network. So we pay tier 2 benefits for them, and the out-of-pocket for that is over $13,000. So if I'm truly budgeting for our medical, I'm budgeting over $1,000 a month.
Sure.
And because I have 2 immunocompromised people in my house, I'm going to spend that. I already know that. So 667 is probably generous. And again, we have to look at ways to make that better. So Nick and I were discussing this the other day. I know I got a $5,400 bill coming for a procedure my wife had done. It's with Mercy Health. I'm going to call them when I get that bill, or actually I'm going to ask her to call them because I don't call people. And I'm going to say, what will you take if I pay it all off right now? And I know they're going to give me at least a 10% discount.
Every time.
Nice.
All right, well, that's still, the entire amount's going to track towards my out-of-pocket. But I'm going to save, $500 if I pay it off. I'm taking that savings. I'm going to pay it off.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, that's I think that's one of the biggest things that most people don't do. That I find, we all have stories of people that kind of just accidentally go into the hospital and things like that, and then, oh hey, I got hit with this bill, and you see those things up there, and then all of a sudden I bring it up, and I'm like, oh, did you ask him, for the 20% discount? They're like, what? No. And I'm like, look, every time, no matter what it is, it could be a $120 bill, and I'll be like, hey, what can you take off of it? And well, what do you want? 20%, start there type of a thing. Well, we can give you 10%, and perfect. 10% is better than nothing. If they say nothing, I usually go, okay, I hang up, and I'll say you'll get it when you get it.
Yeah.
And I'll attempt to call back, and all right, hey, when what can you give me? Oh, you weren't joking. Yeah, I'll pay it right now. I have the money. So I just want a discount for paying it. So most people aren't going to pay their bills and settle up on, especially like on the 5,500, larger things. So they're more inclined to give you a discount to get their money right then, so that way it's paid and it doesn't have to go to collections. So.
Yeah, because let's face it, if it goes to collections, it's costing them more than 10%.
Oh yeah, I mean they're going to sell it. They're going to sell it for 50 cents on a dollar. I mean, that's the start. That's the first one. I mean, if it's large, you get it for 10 cents on a dollar type of thing.
Well, and of course, I'm taking notes here because that's what I do. When we do this, maybe next week or a few weeks down the line, Nick, we should really talk about how to deal with bill collectors, because my wife and I have gotten a lot of friends out of a lot of bills.
Yeah, same. And you have great stories about it too.
I do have some good stories about bill collection. So, I mean, we obviously see where my budget's sitting at. I'm going to unshare this now, and let's just talk about what you two are doing a little bit, and I'll throw in my 2 cents.
Sure.
If I can get this.
If you can unshare it, way to go. No,
yeah, well, I don't use it that often.
I'm a little different than David. I try to be hands-on and hands-off. I want to have a physical receipt, so like when I go pay my mortgages, right? I still go to the bank. I'm old. Like I want that receipt in my hand. But for most of my investing, honestly, it's all like auto pay or auto withdraw. So 401ks thing comes straight out of my check. My betterments and things I just got a notification. Hey, the deposit's going to happen. So that it just automatically pulls, and everything for that is pretty auto, except for like my bills. My bills are the things that I get monthly. Like I call and pay, or I go online and pay. I want to know where that money's going and who's taking it, and I want to know how much I'm actually shelling out. So it hurts more to call and pay I think I just paid a $692 gas bill, and that was it was a great month here. So imagine when it's really cold out. So I want to know that the bill's paid. I write down So I don't think I have anything. I write down the confirmation number, the date it was paid. That way I have, everything cleared. I've had a couple things come back saying, hey, it hasn't been paid, this and that, and I'm an on-time person, so.
Yeah. So
Go ahead.
what I do is I keep a spreadsheet with all my accounts. So I'll have like my bank account, my HSA account, brokerage accounts, 403b, 401k, and all my credit cards. And I have all that in a spreadsheet. And once a month, I'll go in and I'll track and just add to it and see how my net worth has grown over the last 30 some odd days. So it's not to the granular level that I want it to be at, but it's a start.
Sure.
And I like being able to see like, okay, this is where I was at last month. This is where I'm at this month. Even though the market tanked 30%, my wife and I both still have our jobs. And I see that my net worth did not go down by 30%, even though I have everything invested. So
Sure.
it motivates me to see things like that.
Yeah. My real estate, I used to do it like monthly. Like I'd make a payment and then get the next, payment statement. And I would write down like how much my net worth has gone up. And, I guess my personal feeling was like, sometimes I felt like it wasn't enough, even though I noticed that it was like hitting it as like, I was gaining. Sometimes I feel like I wasn't doing enough. So I stopped tracking it on the slow, like every month, and I just started tracking it like every 6 months of like, hey, here's where I've hit, and then where I want to be, like how quickly, So it made it look better to me to see a big amount of money stacking up. We were talking about the pennies and saving pennies, and it was like, 2 pennies sucks, but if I do that, like if I do that for a month straight, it's like the what is it, Acorns or whatever, where they take your change and roll it in. It's like, your 12 cents doesn't mean anything until you get to the end of the month, and all of a sudden you're like, $26. Like I only use 12 cents a piece. So it's like I want to see that big number. So I guess it made more sense for me on a mental level to see it as a bigger number for me. My investments though, like I still, for cash investments, I'll still check them just to see where they are. And of course, we all wanted to see how far our 401s went down and our stocks and all that. So just
I still check them. I just don't write it down and keep track of it. Is what I meant.
Sure.
Because I check it probably every day.
Well, I think Nick brought up a great point there. So I talked about earlier, what were things I could cut? So I got rid of some streaming services that I don't feel I'm getting full value out of because I'm really not using them. One of those things we can jump on is, and Nick brought it up, Acorns is great. I love Acorns for investing. I don't put a lot of money in it, but I put a little bit, and they do this, one of these great things where if you link your card, they will take whatever change you would have had left over out of that next dollar amount. So if you spend $12.40, they're going to take 60 cents. They're going to put it in your Acorns account. It's going to get invested. You're not going to miss it because we don't think of things on a $12.40 level. We think of it, it's either 12 or it's 13. So it's just about training the brain to realize, okay, it was over 12, so I spent $13, and you move on with your life. And at the end of the month, maybe you got an extra $20 that is invested that you don't know about and you're not worrying about. And who knows what that will be in 20 years. Even if you're getting a modest 6% return, that's huge. So these are things, during this type of time, can you afford that little bit extra? You won't even know it's gone. You don't care. Open that account, throw that money in there.
I think that's, most people, if they had an extra $20, they would just go do something they want to do with it, which is perfect, right? But, I think if you, my opinion is if you take even 10 of that, do what you want with 10 of it, because you're not going to buy anything different, right? Like you're going to buy, 3 Bud Lights compared to 1 CBS, right? I mean, you have to make that choice. So, take that $10 and put it into something and have it. Don't even think about it, right? Like in the end, right? My idea is like after a year, you'll be like, okay, hey, that's $240, or I didn't even know I had, didn't even think about, didn't feel it. So like my question, because like I know both of you guys are into all these different apps, things like that. Like what places and types of things are you guys investing in during this pandemic? Are you still doing the same ones? Are you still doing the same investments, David? Not having that same income. Like what's changed, and what do you suggest for people?
So I'll go ahead and share my screen and give Umar a little time to think about what he's doing, because I don't know if he's ready to answer that yet. So these are the investments I have, and I'm going to show you mine and I'm going to show you Caitlin's, because we're obviously in two different realms here. I'm 42, almost 43. I'm paying for everything because I'm the dad, and that's what you do. Caitlin's 25. She moved out a few months ago. Well, she did just turn 25. So she's 25. She moved out a few months ago. She's not used to paying for everything. So she's had all this money that, she could play with. And she said, here, Dad, play with money. So when I look at my investments, I have some passive investments, which would be Fundrise and Prosper. I have, stock accounts, which are Stash, Robinhood, and Acorns. I have 2 different Roths, one with Invesco that was started when I was 16, 17 years old, and one with Betterment that I started recently. I have my investment account with Betterment, and I have my 403B through my work, which I contribute, the max of what they would also match. So I'm not going to, now we're not going to be doing match for 6 months, but I'm not going to stop that investment. I'm putting 4% in. It's relatively aggressive because I'm 42 and I'm not going to retire for 25 years.
Sure.
So I want it to be as aggressive as it can be. Now, Caitlin, on the other hand, is 25. She's not going to retire for a long, long time. So everything I have her in is pretty aggressive. She's in Fundrise. She has stocks at Ally and in Robinhood. She's got 2 Roth IRAs with one with Wealthfront, one with Betterment, and then she's got her investment account at Betterment. Now she puts money in every month to both Betterment accounts. She puts money into Ally probably monthly. I would say that she has money in there for me to make some different investments for, and Robinhood probably every 3 months. And Fundrise, she opened with $1,000 and she just lets it sit.
Sure.
So, she's making money here and there. Now, obviously, Ally and Robinhood took some hits. But when they took hits, the first thing I did, because she doesn't need money, is I went and bought more stocks for her. Now, in a pandemic, am I upping anything I'm doing? No, I'm not. With Prosper, I've actually pulled back investments. When people are paying stuff off, I'm pulling that money back.
Sure. Now with
but,
Prosper, did you see like I'm interested did you see any more payments and bigger payments towards your thing with the stimulus checks? I mean, did you watch?
There have been no extra payments. I've had one person that's been delinquent on their loan, but they've only been delinquent 15 days.
Sure.
It got paid. It just got a little 5-cent late fee, so I got an extra 5 cents to play with.
Right, and that's not money you ever want, right? It's a guarantee.
Correct. And I don't put a lot of money into Prosper. My Prosper account's only worth about $140 right now because I don't want a huge risk there.
Sure.
So for anybody that's not familiar with Prosper, basically what you're doing is it's peer-to-peer lending. People say, I need money for this. This is my FICO score. This is my Prosper score. This is what I do for a living, how much money I make. Will you help fund this investment that I need? And then you decide, this is a good investment, or no, it's a bad one. And you decide how much money you want to throw in, minimum $25. I'd never throw more than $25 into an investment because I figure, if I go out to the bar, I'm going to spend $25 anyways. So I'll throw $25 and hopefully make a little bit of money.
Right, and that's positive.
Yeah.
I mean, every little bit adds up. I mean, it knocks down when you go back to your medical bills, right, it knocks down that medical bill, so you can,
Yep.
you're not getting $1,300 a friggin' month, Just like, I don't know if you guys can see. I just wrote quickly, of course, I wrote quickly on my board, this sweet giant whiteboard. I'm putting in 401k, putting into Betterment. I'm putting in 15% of my 401k, which, as we said, comes directly out of my my paycheck. Betterment, I'm doing 10%. That comes right out of my bank account every week. I say I do have TD Ameritrade playing with stocks. I honestly only throw like $20 a week in there. Automatically transfers in, and then I buy. To be I do more day trading without legal day trade. If you do more than 3 buy-sell transactions of the same account in a week, you're a day trader, and you have to have $25,000 backed to be able to do the trading. So I didn't want to have 25,000 sitting not making money. So I do a couple trades. Get comfortable, and sell it off, and wait until the next thing. So in the meantime, I do some research and things like that, I guess. So that's really, and then all my other money just goes into a savings account or checking account, depending on which one I make more money on. I'm maxing things out, so I'm not going to get paid over. Here we have a local credit union where I make 3% on $15,000. I don't make any more money. I don't make any money on anything over 15,000. So I keep that my at 15,000, do the things I have to, and then my money goes to another spot. So I keep stockpiling money until I have enough money for another down payment of another property. So I need to save bigger money to put it down on bigger things. So.
Yeah, and all of my stuff, nothing has changed with the whole pandemic. I've just stopped investing money into bonds because I used to do a 90-10 split, stocks and bonds, everything into passive, low-cost Vanguard funds. And that's across the line. My HSA, my 403B, my personal brokerage account, my rollover 401k from other companies, everything is in the low expense ratio index funds from Vanguard, if possible. I think our 403B switched to Fidelity, but it's the same thing.
Sure.
And I used to do a 90-10 split, and when we were towards the bottom, I just switched everything into stocks. I also upped my HSA and my 403B contributions. I tripled them both because I can afford to.
During this pandemic, you did?
Yes. So normally it's like evened out to the end of the year. I've tripled them. So actually, I think my HSA I quadrupled, and I tripled the 403B.
Nice.
So I'm trying to just get that done with as soon as possible.
And now, when you said you and your wife are both still working, so
Yep.
like financially, nothing. Now I know we talked. Your salary, is your wife a salary position as well?
Yeah, she's salaried too.
And David, we talked like your salary position. Your wife is not working, so like you lost a full income.
Yep.
Myself, I work a day job. From 4 a.m. to 1 p.m. I'm not salary. My income has changed dramatically. So I was getting paid for the first couple of weeks 32 hours of pay. But then I was getting paid for the past 2 weeks 24 hours of pay to stay home. And then now they're going to start paying me 16 hours a week just to stay home. After all my insurance and everything like that, this is a real thing. I made $5.24 in my checking account. That's what came into my checking account was $5.24. So yes, like I've been kind of gearing up for this in the aspect of like, right, I've always had 6 months reserve of savings in liquid cash, for everything I own. It's not nobody could ever call this happening, right? But in 2008, we watched a lot of things crash, and I didn't want to be stuck in a spot where I couldn't. So I've always, when I go to purchase a property, I instantly have that money for down payment, and first thing I do is start saving for 6 months reserve of payments on that property. Usually it takes, let's call it 2 months to get closed. I try to have as much possible saved up for during those 2 months. Like I want to be really close right when my first rent check comes in. I want to make sure that I'm got myself covered and then can get saving again. So so when it comes to like my 401, yeah, I mean 15% of a 16-hour paycheck is $12, but it's still like 15% is going there. Like it's already done. I'm not going to think about it. It's not going to change my life. Yeah, I'm living off of my wife is unemployed because she got furloughed, and she's in the medical industry, right? That's pretty bad. Like, but she, she's happy. She's home with the kids safe, and we're living off of her unemployment and my $5.24. So, but my investments, like that's one thing, that's one thing I wanna share, I guess, is it's still staying the same. Nothing's changed with me. Everything wants to invest more, but I understand that I need to reserve, and what I'm doing is still good enough. As long as I'm doing something, I'm doing good enough. Everybody wants to capitalize, but I'm not worried about it. So I have money making money, and this low is going to become higher soon. So we've already seen stocks kind of turn around. We've seen my Betterment account that I started for my daughter, oh gosh, 4 years ago. Last I checked, it was down $12. I mean, at one point it was down 800 or something like that, and now it's down $12. Like, I'm not worried.
Well, see, and I think that's important too. I mean, as long as you can ride the storm, you keep riding the storm. My investments haven't changed. They can't. I need to keep investing. So do I invest as much as I want? No, I don't. I'd love to invest, 30-40% of what I'm bringing home, but I can't afford to do that even when Dawn is working. Obviously the last year, our income went way down. Okay. We're used to making combined somewhere between 90 and 110,000. And last year, I think our adjusted gross income was $58,000, which is less than I make. So, I mean, what do you do? What do you cut? So we've been cutting all along. So it's not like I can sit there and jump on, hey, let's do this right now, because, we're pretty much bare bones as it is. And then, the only thing I contribute to every month consistently is stash. I throw money into stash every month. I haven't cut it back at all yet. Don't plan on doing it. I'd like to put more in. And, when I look at my daughter, she's, also laid off right now. So she's only making unemployment, but she's got money. So she's okay. And I talked to her today. I'm like, hey, I bought another $160 in stocks for you today. Do you want to know what's up? And she goes, no. And of course, my thing to her was, okay, I'm going to die at some point. What are you going to do when I die? She goes, what do you mean? I'm like, somebody has to give you money advice when I'm dead. You know what she said to me? I'll just ask Nick.
I want you to know, once you're dead, I'm charging for that stuff.
That's between you and her. I'm dead. I tell them all the time, I have to be at my job when I drop dead because they'll have a lot of money. I got a lot of life insurance at that place.
So, Right. It's not a brag. It's a thing that we've all been kind of doing. We all seem to have a good head on our shoulders when it comes to financials. What do you guys suggest for people that might not have a pot to piss in right now? Right. They got unemployed. We're hoping that when they see this, they haven't spent all their stimulus checks. They weren't investors before. What do you suggest right now? What do they do?
So if I'm them, I'm probably looking at something that is low maintenance. Okay. Of course you go to that. I'm looking at something low maintenance because most people out there don't want to research it, don't understand what they're researching. They don't know what to do. So you want to find something that you don't really have to look at. Betterment's a great option. They have investment accounts. They have, IRAs. I always love Roth IRAs. Throw some money into that. Get on one of these platforms like Acorns or Stash where you can just basically tell them, hey, I'm moderately aggressive, or I'm very conservative, and they will go ahead and take care of investing it for you. They'll point you to some different accounts, and then you don't have to worry so much about what should I do.
Would you say start now then? I mean,
I would say start as soon as you can, and you don't have to start with a lot. Start with $5.
But I'm saying, so like even during this pandemic, when people are where they are, would you suggest it?
I would absolutely suggest it right now because you're buying low.
Okay, and then being a non-financial person, growing up, I wasn't a financial person, so like that was the words that were told to me, right? Buy low, sell high, kid. That's how you'll get rich. So,
right.
Right. We all have opinions, and yeah, this is a low, right? I was fishing for those words, but yeah.
Yes. So you always you want to walk in when it's at some kind of bottom. It might not be at the absolute bottom, but you're getting full value for your money if you're buying it cheap. Okay. Mm-hmm. If you can look at. So I'm a child of the 80s, which both of you are way too young to understand. Okay.
I was born in 88.
Yeah. Okay.
I was born in 85.
Okay. Both of you are way too young to understand. So when I was a kid, we had every toy there was. We had Star Wars and G.I. Joe and He-Man, and it was all great. And the only thing I was smart enough to do was keep all of my Star Wars toys.
Sure.
Had I been thinking back then like I would think now, instead of like a 3-year-old, I would have never opened a Star Wars toy. I would have put them in a box and I would have sold them now. That 99-cent figure I would sell now for $1,000.
So let me ask you, because I want to go back to this pandemic right now. If somebody has something like that laying around, or if they have anything laying around, would you suggest they sell it right now?
If it doesn't have value to them, absolutely. If there's stuff that you have if there's stuff you have that you're not using and you're not tied to in any way, find a way to get rid of it.
And then put that towards your startup of Acorns or startup of Betterment?
Yeah, absolutely.
For sure. I mean, I would fully agree. Great minds think alike, I'm telling you.
I have to pause for 1 second. You guys hold your thoughts here.
Yeah.
Now that I'm done yelling at my wife for laughing at me. Yeah, absolutely. If you have stuff that's not worth something to you, get rid of it if you can. When I stopped head coaching, there were things I said, hey, I really need to start going through this and start selling it. I haven't done it yet. I really need to do that because, I got 40 bats sitting here that are basically brand new.
Sure.
I don't need them. I don't supply bats for kids anymore. They buy their own.
Yeah, sell them.
Yeah.
Yeah, same. And we know that bats, they depreciate, right? I mean, everybody wants the newest and the best thing. So the faster you get rid of bats, the more money you're going to make off of it. No, so and that's one of my biggest things. I think if you're at a point where you just lost your job, we know unemployment's paying more than what most people were making, right? I mean, if you are that type of a person where you are making more money than what the $600 bonus of unemployment is paying you right now, you know, chances are, you're a financial person that understands a little bit of money, and so right, you can reach out to David or I. We'll look at things, kind of help you make sure you get by. When it comes to real estate, I can help you with what payments, forgivenesses, things like that. Business owners, I know Dawn, which is David's wife. She's been applying for some loan things and things like that, so she understands how to do that. So if you're not making the same amount or more that you were making, on that, reach out to us privately. Through YouTube, we can contact you anyway. That's going to happen. So, but more for the people that are either benefiting from this unemployment or are getting by, still working. Ummer hasn't changed any lifestyle, and I think that's for quite a few people. One thing, it's one thing I think is like most people get a raise to continue to work. So like that's a huge key. And if you don't think you get a raise, if you used to go to work, you're staying home. So that's car insurance. That's gas that you're not spending. So like pennies, right? I mean, you're making money. So, what do you guys see? What do you guys see that's going to happen with your investments that have taken a loss? Like, I mean, do you think they're going to go back up, or what are you fearing right now? What's your thoughts?
I think eventually they'll go back up. I mean, being that all my stuff is invested broad market, I have faith in the economy of the United States, so there's only one direction for it to go.
Sure.
Well, I know with a lot of the stuff I'm in, it's going to be just fine. Now, so some of the stocks that Caitlin or I own, could they go under? Yeah, absolutely. What am I going to lose? $100 here, $100 there, maybe. But I was smart enough to, so when I originally this hit, I looked at her account. She was down probably about $800-900. So I took more money and I threw it into stuff that was way down. I talked about this with Nick last week. I bought Disney, I bought Beyond, I bought Nike.
Now,
which have all gone way up from where I bought them.
So have you ever heard of Disney or Nike, you had said, or another, big company like that? Have you ever heard of them literally going from what's called a $100 stock to $0 overnight?
No.
I mean, right? So if you lose it a little bit, it's going to be, you have the opportunity to sell at a loss if you feel that, right? I mean, statistics show that gains are going to happen. So it's just a matter of time. If you're an older viewer, let's be honest, my mom will probably watch this because she supports her amazing, good-looking son. But no, and she's closer to retirement, right? I wouldn't run out and tell her, hey, go spend all your money on this. But somebody my age, I would tell them, hey, get started. Like I didn't have that chance to start low, and I didn't have the knowledge or this type of a thing to watch to have, hey, make it happen, right? So.
Well, I think I was always smart enough to know I could drop dead tomorrow. Nobody knows. Mm-hmm. So I've always been looking at how can I set up, the rest of my family to survive if I'm not around here. Great, they're going to get life insurance. That's fantastic. They're going to get my 403B. That's fantastic. But I need to set, my wife will be okay, but I need to set my daughter up for long-term success. I hopefully will live another 50, 60 years.
Sure.
If I die tomorrow, I want to make sure she's going to live comfortably for 50, 60 years, which is why I went out and opened her IRAs and investment accounts and gave her a tool. And obviously, Nick, you did the same thing for your daughter because she's got a Betterment account and she's 4 years old. That's huge.
So, one thing, she's 4, and I did start a betterment, but I didn't start a 529, right? I say my wife did, but I did not. That being said, right? So my wife is in medical, right? She has to go to school for where she's at in life.
Mhm.
I'm in real estate. If my daughter doesn't go to college, right? I don't need a 529 college plan for that. So, what I told my wife, if she wanted it, she could set it up, and I made her, I taught her how to do it and what to do and put small money into it. But I can't force my kid to do all this college. That's just my opinion. But I want her to be successful in what she does, right? If she takes my betterment money and goes to college with it, I don't really care. It's her money. I just happen to put it away. Granted, she does some chores for it. I mean, I pay her more, and I pay her more for chores right now than any other 4-year-old makes, I guess. But she'll earn it back later. So no, I think that's something, right? And anything you can do for the next generation is big for me, right? In any way, I'm setting them up. So, David, you have an IRA for Caitlin, and you have an IRA for yourself. What is an IRA?
So an IRA is, there's two different types of IRAs. Okay, well, two different types that I care about. There's a regular IRA, which is paid with pre-tax dollars, and there's a Roth IRA, which is paid with post-tax dollars. Okay, I prefer the Roth because I want my money to be my money. Okay, so when we look at that, if you buy into a regular IRA, what you're buying into is you're going to take $3,000, put it in, they're going to give you that $3,000 they're going to take off of your taxes, and you're going to get a savings now, realizing that when you retire, you'll be making less money. So your hit on that will be lower, obviously, than whatever you're paying now. I don't know that that's going to be the truth for me. I'm hoping that I'm making more when I'm in my 60s than I'm making now. That's my goal.
Yeah.
If I'm doing that, I would rather my money grows tax-free. So I'm throwing money into Roth IRAs every time over a tax benefit now. I don't care about a tax benefit now.
Sure. Are things going to change? Are you going to keep an eye on it if tax benefits change in the future?
I will, yeah. Obviously, if they come out with something crazy, I'm more than willing to look at anything crazy.
Sure.
But right now, for my value, I'll stick with the Roth because I know it's going to grow. I'm not going to pay taxes on the growth.
Yeah. I'm
happy with that.
With my 401k, I was at 15% into a Roth 401 and a 5% into traditional.
Mm-hmm.
Because I know for a fact I'm going to have more money when I'm older. Yep. I don't want to get into a mindset that says I'm not. I don't want there to be any chances. So I did lower it to 10% into Roth and 5% traditional. It gives me a good paycheck that I want. But I put that other 5% over into Betterment because it's an index fund, and I want those funds available for the, oh crap, something just happened, like during this pandemic. Like if I absolutely need to, yeah, I call it her money, but it's gone, right? Like daddy's got to save a house. Like you need a roof over your head before you need a bank account that says you have some money. So, so I took it's still technically Roth if you think about it, because I've already paid taxes on that money. Yep. Then I put it into an index fund. Right? I just get to be able to take it sooner and choose to pay taxes on it quicker if I absolutely need to. The only reason I changed that format. So.
Well, and I know looking at things, so when we have these, like the 403B is a great example. So, I just throw the money in there. I don't think about it.
Sure. I don't mean to stop you. Before we aired on this, I did get a question.
Yeah, shoot.
Yeah, so, and it was about 403 since the question was, what do I do with my 403B? The person had a job at a different company, transferred to a new company, so their 403B is still stuck with the old company, and they opened a new one because, it doesn't just roll into it. They opened a new 403B with this new company, so they want to know what to do with their old one, what to do with their new one, and should they change anything during this pandemic, which I think we talked about. We wouldn't change any investments if we could afford it during this pandemic time. We'd rather cut other things to make sure that we're, our money's better spent in investing. So 403B, old, new, go ahead and let me know your advice.
So my thoughts on that is you probably cannot roll it over to your new 403B, but it doesn't hurt to check. So check.
Who would they check with?
Whoever's administering that plan. So like we're set up with Voya through our work.
Sure.
Simple phone call or email to them saying, hey, I have this old 403B. Is this something I can roll into this account? And they'll let you know, yeah, we can do that, or no, we can't.
All right. So reiterate, call the new company to see if your old 403 can roll over into it.
Correct.
Okay. So call new to see if old can go over to it. Okay. And if it can't, then what?
If it can't, I'm looking for some other investment option to throw that into, whether it be a traditional IRA or a Roth, because you're going to end up spending more to keep it where it's at in plan fees than you're really going to get out of it. You can't keep contributing to it. So if you put it into a Roth, you're going to end up paying taxes. If you can roll it into just a traditional IRA, at least you'll save your taxes in that case.
Sure.
So what you really want to do is find someplace you can roll that over that's tax-free, so that you're not taking that money as some kind of hit against your income that year. Because let's pretend for a minute, Nick, it's your wife, okay?
Sure.
And let's pretend she's not getting unemployment, because I know she qualifies, but let's pretend she's not getting it. A year like this, you might be making less money. So could you afford that tax hit? Sure, this might be the year to do it. The IRAs that were open for me when I was 16 were traditional IRAs. I transferred them to Roth in 2009 and 10. I split it over 2 years. I think it was 9 and 10 or 8 and 9, something like that. And I could take the tax hit combined over those 2 years. And because, I wasn't making that much money back then, it didn't matter to me. I wasn't paying much more in taxes, and now it's growing tax-free.
Sure.
So what we're doing is we're looking for an investment tool we can throw that money into that's not going to hurt us now.
Yep.
And that we can see benefits later. And if the new company will let you roll that into what you got, go for that. That's the easiest and quickest way to deal with it. All your money's in one spot. Sure.
So you trust the new company with your money then. Okay.
Yeah.
So now what do we do with the new 403? How do we contribute? Do we do what we did? Like what's your thoughts on that?
Well, I think, there's some questions you have to answer for yourself. I think Umar would agree with this. So at our current company, they would match half of whatever you put in up to 4%. So if you put in 4%, they'd give you 2%. Now, because of the pandemic, come July, they're suspending that for 6 months, and they'll reevaluate it the first of the year. So at that point, maybe there's a conversation, that you need to have on what do I want to do with this. But if there's a match, you max that out. Okay.
Good.
You need to take into effect your age, because if you're younger, whatever investments you pick in the 403B need to match whatever age you're really at. So I know with ours, they have funds where you can just invest and forget about it, and they're based off of your retirement year. So if you plan on retiring around 2055, there's a 2055 account. I have some money in that. I have some money in the 45. I have some money in the 2025 account. But I also pick my own investments because I'm an investment guy. So I want to know where my money's at and where I'm getting good value for that money. So only some of it's invested in those things I don't have to think about.
Sure.
So if you're young, 40 or under, even 45 or under, stay moderately aggressive. Because
42 and a half, stay moderately aggressive. So,
correct.
okay. Yep.
Because we know it's going to come back. Now people keep saying they love to tie the economy to what stocks are doing. Okay.
Sure.
They're not related in any way, shape, or form.
No.
So when we look at it, we really don't want to look at, is the economy doing well because the stock market's up? No, that has nothing to do with anything. We can ask this question right now. Nick, you know people. Can they afford to miss 2 paychecks?
Yes.
Most of the people I know can't.
Oh, most of the people I know some that can.
Yeah, you know some that can.
No, yeah, I say others.
Yeah.
Most of my tenants, right?
Perfect.
Couldn't miss a paycheck. So, right, this last month was tough. I'll be honest, I had to wait till stimulus checks kind of came out to collect all my rent, and I still haven't collected it. So, when it comes down to it, people don't have enough money saved up to make it a week. I mean, 2 weeks is pretty much broke. I mean, calling mom and dad and saying, hey, I screwed up. 1 week is all right. Hey, we're gonna struggle. But so I say when I answer yes 2 weeks, I mean, right? I know for a fact you could go 2 weeks without a paycheck. It would suck, but I know you could go 2 weeks without a paycheck.
And we know most people can't. No,
most can't. I don't know the statistic. I should Google it. I want to say it was 82% or something like that of people don't have $1,000 in the checking account, or in a savings account, and that's crazy, right? Like, I mean, which tells you you couldn't go this amount of time without the $600 stimulus check coming, or the $1,200 stimulus check coming in, or you couldn't go this time. So, right, like it's an eye opener, very much of hey, I should probably have a little bit of money into an oh crap account for just
that tells us how great the economy is right now. It's just not good, and it hasn't been good. It hasn't been good for 30 years.
Well, I mean, the economy, I guess, like to me, it's growing because like jobs are getting created and they're filling it. But we just watched a quick boom, right? My company that I work for literally just sent out, there's a hiring freeze on all salaried positions. They're not promoting people. There's a hiring freeze until they figure out how many of us hourly people are coming back. So there's a boom, like the economy just went south like that, right? Like it wasn't hey, we slowly seen this coming. No, this was like buckle up, grab your bootstraps, here we go, we're down the bottom, and you have no chances of promotion. So that's a frustration for sure.
Well, and that's really where people are coming from at this point is, can I afford to be without money? No, I can't afford to be without money. Is, my neighbor going to be better than I am? Yeah, maybe they are, maybe they're not. I can tell you right now with where I live in Byron Center, okay? I probably have more money than most people on my block. I live like I have less. Because I don't have, multiple mortgages. I don't have multiple vehicles. I mean, I do.
Well, you do have multiple vehicles. You just don't. But, I know, I know I live in Jenison, my area, right? Like I know I have more money than most of my neighbors as well because I choose a lower lifestyle, and again don't have the it's funny. I have 2 neighbors that try to keep up with the Joneses, right? Like one goes out and gets a new car, the next one gets a new car, one gets a new lawnmower riding, the next one gets so it's very fun to watch as I sip my Bud Lights and but no, it's one of those things where it's, hey, we gotta pay attention to, if people are spending money, it's usually a time to save, right? If people are saving, that's usually a time to cut back and invest like a crap ton, right? Like, I mean, you don't need to be spending, but you need to be investing, right? So people are spending money, save money. People are saving money or not spending money because they don't have it. That's investment time, right? So all the money you saved, invest it and go, right? I mean, you'll bounce back. So I think the pandemic that's happening, it's Thursday the 23rd right now.
Yep.
We're going to get a notice come next week whether we're going to be shut down for longer or not. I don't know where we're going to be. My wife thinks we're going to be shut down for quite a bit. Wisconsin shut down till June. Illinois, I think, just announced that they're going to shut down till June. West Virginia is the 26th, which is that Friday. So they're going to open the weekend up. Good job them. But I mean, they're shut down until June. So I think we're gonna see some oh crap, here it comes, very very fast. So, what's your opinion on what's gonna come here?
We're getting at least 2 more weeks, if not another month. I think she'll evaluate it on a 2-week basis. So I think when the governor comes out tomorrow, she'll say, we're not doing anything till the 15th or so of May.
Sure.
And then a week before that, she'll say, we're not doing anything till June 1. And I think eventually it will be June 1. Dawn and I talked about it back when this started, that June 1 was a possibility. And how's the business going to look if we're sitting there closed for 3 months? And luckily, we're going to be all right. But a lot of people are not in that boat. A lot of people, especially small business owners, because she's on small business owner meetings all the time, they're freaking out because they don't know where the money's coming from. They don't, when it does eventually open, they don't know if they'll have any customers with any money to come back to.
Sure.
So they're worried, and I understand that fear, but I also, as a business owner, sit here and look at it and go, well, we can open everything up right now, and even if only 10% of the people out there die, off of 10 million people, you want to be responsible for 10%? I don't. I think the best thing we can do right now is be smart and continue to do things like social distancing and continue to stay home as much as possible. When this opens back up, I think everybody's going to have to wear masks.
So if you had money to play around with, instead of going out in public, would you just day trade all day, every day? Because I know I would.
Probably.
Yeah. Right. And I trust me, I think about it every day. So, it's just tough to throw out that kind of money to something I can't predict. So.
Well, that's where you and I are usually coming from. We want to be as aggressive as possible, but we don't want to make stupid bets.
Right, and we want to have knowledge and make educated decisions.
Correct. I know when I started going back to school, everybody said, well, why are you going back to school? I said, well, I kind of want the degree. But for what? You're going to get a better job? No, I'm not going to get a better job, but I don't understand investing well enough. Like, Nick's known me for a long time. I've always done stuff with money. But I didn't know what a beta was, let alone what to put my money in. So I figured, okay, I'll go into finance. I like that. I'll learn some stuff. I can go and invest. If I never finished my degree at this point, yeah, that would suck. But I know a lot more now than I did, when I started investing. So I've gotten a lot out of it because I know where to put money. I know how to hedge my bets. I know I'm going to lose money. I need to be okay with whatever I'm putting in to lose. I think that's a great place where Ummer's at. So Ummer's got, no real changes salary-wise. He's got young ones at home. 2, do you have 2, Ummer?
No, just one 16-month-old.
Okay, so he's got the one at home. So he can sit there and say, okay, this market looks awful. Let's buy stocks.
Yeah.
Because he knows they're going to go up. And when they go up, he's going to make a lot of money off of that.
Sure.
And here's the big question, Amr. When they go up, would you reevaluate and go back to some bonds?
Eventually.
Yeah. Because we're always looking to hedge that bet. Bonds will lose less money, in this downturn than what stocks will. So if you had them going in, that's great. Keep them. And then when it hits bottom, like Ummer did, say, all right, get rid of those bonds. Let's go buy stocks. And he's at a great age where he can do that. My mother, on the other hand, I pulled her way more conservative. She lost, for everybody that lost $10, she only lost $3.
Sure.
So when she looks at her accounts, yeah, she's down $35,000, but she could have been down $100,000. I'm not telling her to change anything at this point because I'm not worried about her long-term growth. She's, 67 years old. We just need to keep that where it is. When the market bounces back, she'll make some more money. Will it, come back 40 grand? I don't know that. But at least, we're hedging that bet.
So, all right, guys. Hey, it's a little past an hour of run. Just say if anybody has any questions that watches this, let us know. We want to build content that helps everyone out. We want to grow and develop knowledge of investing, of getting to a better future for yourself, for your family, whatever your goal is. We want to help you achieve that with an investing mindset. So again, I'm Nick. That's David. If you guys really have anything, reach out to us and we'll do our best. So
Amr's been really nice enough to join us the last 2 weeks because he loves to talk money too. I mean, literally, we got off of this last week and Amr sending me messages going, man, that was fun. And Nick sending me messages going, man, that was fun.
it was a great time.
We just love talking money.
I love it. I could do this all day.
I would too. So, I mean, even, if somebody's seeing this, because I'm sure Amr will say, hey, go look, we were talking about money. Get a hold of Amr. He'll absolutely tell you, hey, come talk with us. We're having fun. So I know we're talking about maybe moving to Tuesdays. We're going to try and finalize that, by the end of the weekend here. So if anybody's interested, they can get out and see what's up and hopefully more people join us, ask some more questions and we can, share in the knowledge. Because I think that's what we're here for. We want to share in the knowledge. I want to learn more things that I'm not doing and don't know about.
Sure.
Because I want more money.
Right.
I say, I wrote on my board, my goal in life is to do what I want when I want to. So I'm going to need money to do that.
True story. All right, gentlemen, well, we'll wrap it up this week, and hopefully we'll connect in a few days again and figure out how to have another nice, fun conversation.
All right, boys.
Good.
We'll see you Tuesday.
All right, you guys take care.
You too. See ya.
Bye.
Cheers.